Rick Scarborough and Recover America, thank you for watching once again.
General Paxton, I'm going to ask you some questions, but I want to begin with you just telling us about your family, children, what they're doing, and so forth.
Yeah, so first of all, I hope this isn't like the last CNN interview I did, because I was listening, you're sitting in the chair waiting to go on, and I think it was Rachel Maddow's show, and they were talking, she was talking to some other guest, and he called me a moron before I got on, so I knew it wasn't going to be a good interview after that. So I have 4 children. Angela and I were married in 1986 at Red Baptist Church, where you were. I think you were there at the time. And we were fortunate. We actually lived with my in-laws for a couple months while we were looking for a house while I was studying for the bar, since we ended up attending church at Red Baptist, where you were. And anyway, I've got 4 great kids. My wife, Angela, is a state senator. She was a math teacher and a physics teacher before that, and she's doing a great job representing our area of Texas in the Senate. And she actually is the senator that authored the trigger bill that went into effect when Roe v. Wade was struck down. So pretty amazing that she passed the bill and I went and defended it. And we wrote the amicus brief for the Dobbs case for Mississippi, and we had 24 states participating. And then I also have 4 great children, 29-year-old son in California, designing self-driving cars for a company called Cruise.
Oh.
I have a daughter who's in the Air Force. She's a captain. She was in Special Forces. She married another Special Forces guy in the Air Force, and they're now living in California, 45 minutes from my other son. And she is now transitioned into nursing, and she's about to have her first baby.
Wow.
And then I've got a daughter in Killeen who is went to Texas A&M, and we have a blended family. 2 went to Baylor, 2 went to A&M. And she has 2 babies, which is great, 19-month-old and a newborn. And her husband is a tank commander in the Army, and he's going to leave the Army and go work for a church, help start Christian schools. And then another daughter who's a 3rd grade teacher in Wylie. She just graduated from A&M about a year ago.
Kamala Harris said to Chuck Todd this past week that our border was secure. And in fact, she drilled down on it. The border is secure. Comment on that. Is our border secure?
I mean, I don't know whether to say she's a liar or she's insane. I don't think anybody that cares about this country would say that our border is secure. It's just the opposite. They've actually, from day one, Joe Biden said that he was going to allow anybody, there would be no deportation. We sued him right away, and we stopped that. But he has dismantled federal law, ignored federal law, and they have a deal, a partnership with cartels. And they've told the cartels, you bring people here, you can make they make about $10,000 a person.
Nice.
So they're making billions. You bring people here, we'll process them. The Border Patrol will be there to help you, not send these people away. We will be there to help you. And by the way, the border's wide open for drugs, which is killing our children. And so what they are doing is purposeful. And in my mind, they know exactly what they're going to get. They're getting lots of crime. They're getting lots of kids dying from fentanyl overdoses, and they're willing to trade all of that for more people immigrating here illegally.
The Mar-a-Lago raid on our former president, the 4th Amendment was put in place to prevent such unlawful raids. And how safe are we as American citizens right now? It seems that the FBI and some of our intelligence agencies have literally turned on the American people. What's your take on that?
I can tell you right now that the FBI and the Department of Justice, I think it's become a criminal organization. They don't follow the Constitution. They don't follow state laws. They don't follow federal laws, and they don't follow the 4th Amendment. And I've experienced this personally. I've seen how they treat people. I remember I had this debate in my office. We were looking into corruption in the FBI. So I think they clearly don't follow the 4th Amendment anymore. They do searches without warrants, and then they get their warrants later. And I've heard people in my own office who are no longer with me argue that the FBI, as long as they get close on the law, it's okay. But the reality is the Constitution specifically put that in there to protect the American people. And you know, if they have the confidence to do this to the former President of the United States, and I've seen them do it, I've gone through it, I've seen other people go through it, they do not think that they're accountable to anybody. And the reality is, when I tried to do this investigation, it all got turned on me. And it really is difficult to imagine if I can't do an investigation of corruption at the FBI and them violating state law in Texas, and I'm in trouble, and I'm the one being investigated, I don't know how you stop them unless you have a president come in and restructure the whole organization.
Amazing information. The Uvalde shooting, or as it's been redefined in the press, Uvalde, but Uvalde, as we've all grown up. Will there ever be any prosecution of the officers who stood by while the children were being shot? Can you initiate any kind of a proceeding, or is that a county sheriff jurisdiction?
So that's a really frustrating question for me. It's the local district attorneys in every county that make the decision about prosecutions. So it's the local district attorney in Uvalde that would make that call. And look, this is a real problem that the legislature in Texas needs to address, because George Soros has figured this out. And he's put his DAs in some of these big counties, and they are there to make sure that they don't prosecute drug crimes, they don't prosecute voter fraud, they don't prosecute shoplifting, that they make the decision, not the legislature, that George Soros makes the decision about who gets prosecuted. So, no, I don't have any original jurisdiction other than voter fraud, which now the Criminal Court of Appeals is supposedly struck down. I don't have any way to go prosecute anyways. As a matter of fact, I've been asked to prosecute people in Harris County by certain senators here, and I've had to tell them no, because the legislature has never given us a backup. And so our DAs are completely unaccountable. They can do whatever they want. They can allow as much crime as they want. They can participate in the crime, and there's no one in Texas that can stop them.
Changing subjects just a little bit, we had passed a law, our legislature did, that basically said critical race theory could not be taught in our schools. I think the legislation is referred to as REVA, the Religious Viewpoints Anti-Discrimination Act. What I'm finding as I travel the state is they're ignoring that law. Is there any effort on your part to follow up on that and prosecute these folks that are literally breaking the laws of the state?
So I have sent letters out to like Austin ISD telling them that they're not following the law, but the legislature, my authority comes from either the Texas Constitution or the legislature. And they did not, in that bill, give me any authority to do anything about it. It's up to the parents. It's up to local parents to hold their school boards accountable or to sue their school boards. So this is a local decision that the legislature has left with local districts and local parents. They gave me no authority other than to highlight it by sending letters and then advertising, or at least letting people know what we put in those letters. I don't have any authority to do anything beyond that. It's the local parents that are responsible.
General Paxton, tell us what has been the biggest highlight of your tenure as Attorney General.
That's a hard question. I think for me, it's just knowing that in my office, we have the ability to, whether we're suing the federal government, whether we're going after human traffickers, whether we're speaking out on critical race theory, there are just so many issues that have an ability to affect not just Texas, but literally the whole nation. And even if you look at some of the big tech lawsuits we have with Google and Facebook and Twitter that are trying to destroy our ability to speak openly, that's an international issue that will affect the entire world if we're successful in going after these big tech companies. So the things that we're doing in my office have national and international implications that help Texas, but they do a lot to help other states and really our entire country.
General Paxton has graciously agreed to stay till after our proceedings tonight, and we'll have Q&A after I speak for a few minutes. But let's give General Paxton a wonderful round of applause. We appreciate very much your coming today.